The rooster's crow was his alarm clock, the sun his timekeeper. Ramesh woke before dawn painted the sky. He knew the rhythms of the land. Each day brought the same toil, the same aches in his back, the same meager rewards. Ramesh worked on his family's farm. It was all he had ever known. His father, a man weathered by years of labor, taught him. He learned to sow seeds, to nurture crops, to harvest what the earth yielded. His days were long. They were filled with sweat and dirt. But Ramesh didn't complain. He understood the necessity. He had a family to support, a responsibility to uphold. Despite the hardships, Ramesh found solace in the land. He felt a connection to the earth, a sense of purpose in his labor, yet a part of him yearned for more. He dreamed of a life beyond the village, a life he could barely imagine. One scorching afternoon, a cloud of dust announced a visitor. It was Vijay, Ramesh's childhood friend. He had left the village years ago. He sought his fortune in the city. Vijay, dressed in clothes Ramesh could only dream of, seemed different. There was a confidence in his stride, a glint of ambition in his eyes. The city had changed him. He brought stories of opportunity, of a life Ramesh had only imagined. He spoke of factories and offices, of jobs that paid more in a day than Ramesh earned in a week. He painted a picture of a life free from the constraints of the land, a life of possibilities. Ramesh listened intently. A mix of excitement and trepidation stirred within him. The city both scared and enticed him. It represented the unknown, a gamble he wasn't sure he was ready to take. The seed of ambition, once planted, grew quickly. Vijay's visit had awakened a longing in Ramesh. He could no longer ignore the city's allure. He decided to seek his parents' blessing. His mother, her face etched with years of worry, listened with a heavy heart. She understood his desire for a better life. But the city was a distant, unknown entity. It filled her with fear. His father, a man of few words, sat silently. His eyes, however, spoke volumes. He saw his own unfulfilled aspirations reflected in his son. He knew he couldn't hold him back. With a mix of trepidation and hope, Ramesh packed a meager bag. He boarded a crowded bus, leaving behind the only life he had ever known. The city awaited, a beacon of promise and uncertainty. The city was a cacophony of sights and sounds. Towering buildings scraped the sky. Traffic roared like a raging river. Ramesh felt overwhelmed, a tiny speck in a sea of humanity. He found a cramped room in a crowded tenement. The work was grueling. He toiled long hours in a stifling factory. The pay was meager, but it was more than he had ever earned. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Ramesh worked tirelessly. He saved every rupee he could. He learned to navigate the city's labyrinthine streets. He adapted to its frenetic pace. Life was a constant struggle. But Ramesh persevered. He clung to his dreams. He knew that each day of toil brought him one step closer to a better life. Section 5. A taste of success. Years of relentless hard work yielded fruit. Ramesh saved enough to buy a small shop. It was a humble establishment, but it was his. He was no longer just a worker. He was his own master. His business prospered. He expanded his shop. He hired an assistant. He even bought a used car, a symbol of his hard-won success. The city that had once seemed so daunting now felt like home. One evening at a community gathering, he met Priya. She was a kind, intelligent woman. They fell in love. Their wedding was a joyous occasion. Ramesh felt truly blessed. He had achieved what he had set out to do. He had escaped the cycle of poverty. He had created a good life for himself. He had found love. Life, it seemed, was finally smiling upon him. Section 6. A cruel twist of fate. Life, however, has a way of shattering even the most carefully constructed dreams. Ramesh, once full of vigor, started feeling unwell. He ignored the warning signs at first. He attributed his fatigue to overwork. But the symptoms persisted. He lost weight. He was plagued by a persistent cough. A visit to the doctor brought devastating news. Cancer. The word hung in the air like a death knell. Ramesh was devastated. Fear gnawed at his insides. The unfairness of it all threatened to consume him. He had worked so hard. He had finally found happiness. And now, it was being ripped away. Priya, however, refused to give up hope. She became his pillar of strength. She assured him that they would fight this together. She radiated a calm determination that belied the fear she felt inside. Section 7. Love's steadfast hand. The following months were a blur of hospital visits, treatments, and dwindling hope. Ramesh grew weaker with each passing day. The business, his pride and joy, became a distant concern. Priya, however, refused to let their dreams crumble. With a steely resolve, she took the reins of the shop. She learned the ropes quickly. She managed the accounts. She dealt with suppliers. She became the face of the business. She juggled her responsibilities with unwavering dedication. She cared for Ramesh with love and tenderness. She managed the shop with efficiency and grace. She was the embodiment of strength and resilience. Her efforts were not in vain. The business, under her capable stewardship, not only survived but thrived. She ensured that Ramesh received the best possible care. She became his rock, his anchor in the storm. Section 8. Legacy of Strength. Despite their best efforts, the inevitable arrived. Ramesh lost his battle with cancer. His passing left a gaping hole in Priya's life. Grief threatened to engulf her, but she knew she couldn't afford to surrender to despair. Ramesh may have been gone, but his memory, his dreams lived on. She had a responsibility to honor his legacy. She had a business to run. She had their future to secure. She threw herself into her work. She poured her grief, her love, her determination into the shop. It became her sanctuary, a testament to her husband's hard work, a symbol of her own resilience. The business flourished under her leadership. She expanded it further. She diversified their offerings. She turned it into a thriving enterprise. She had fulfilled her promise to Ramesh. She had secured their future. Section 9. From Farm to Fortune. Priya's journey was a testament to the indomitable human spirit. She had faced adversity head-on. She had turned tragedy into triumph. She had transformed herself from a farmer's wife to a successful entrepreneur. Her story was an inspiration to many. She had proven that with hard work, determination, and love, anything is possible. She had honored her husband's memory in the most meaningful way possible. From the humble fields of a village to the bustling streets of the city, their story was one of resilience, of love, of the enduring power of the human spirit. It was a story that echoed through time, reminding everyone that even in the face of overwhelming odds, hope and love can prevail.